Un, dos, y un, dos, tres, y... Bueno, sí. Camina.
Hi guys, and I am sorry, it looks like I am lost. Where on earth is Vigan? And if you thought like me that it is located in Spain, then you are forgiven. Because, I am even feeling like I am now somewhere in a medieval town somewhere in the country of Spain. But no, not at all, this is in fact the city called Vigan, and it is most probably the closest we can get to a very authentic Spanish city, outside of Spain and outside of the European continent. And the unbelievable amazing fact is, that it is located here in the eastern hemisphere of Southeast Asia, right here in the northern parts of the Philippine archipelagos. So here we go, hola, and kamusta ka my dear friends, and welcome back to my channel. And today from one of the most unique and the few historically surviving cities that are dating back to the 16th century of Spanish history. It is none less than the city of Vigan, located here in the northern part of the Philippines. More precisely, it is located in the province of Ilocos Sur on the South China Sea. And yes, the city has nothing to do with vegan food, but is in fact best known for its heritage village feel that has preserved most of the Spanish colonial buildings, giving me a feeling of walking into a time warp, as it is the only Hispanic town in the Philippines that remains almost completely intact. And starting from the complete cobblestone streets and going to the architecture that features a fusion of Philippine, Spanish, Chinese and other Oriental design concepts. This place is indeed a unique time capsule. I learned that many of the buildings here were built during the 18th century, and as I can see, most of them are still standing in good shape as of today. Even though they experienced the 7.3 magnitude earthquake that struck the Luzon island with great force on Wednesday the 27th of July in 2022, and caused significant damages to many buildings here which I can still see very clearly, even as of today, but the city and its inhabitants are still standing its ground. Unfortunately, most of the heavy damage I can see is on the beautiful Vigan Cathedral, which was almost split in half, and also partially destroyed the belfry, located just next to the church. I have been told that the local government has since then set up the scaffolding to reinforce the front of the cathedral, and as well as around the bell tower. And that it began with its renovation project, which is still ongoing as of today, and perhaps will continue for some time more. Besides the cathedral, many century-old houses and homes along the Calle Grisologo and its surrounding areas also sustained heavy cracks, amounting to an estimated cost of damage well exceeding the $4.5 million marker, so don't be surprised by the still many damaged and even abandoned buildings, since bringing them back to life is very expensive. But now let's talk a bit about the history of Vigan, the city that before the arrivals of the Spanish conquistadores was known as the town of Cabigbigan, which comes from the word biga, a plant with large leaves that grows along the riverbanks here in Vigan. After the arrival of the Spaniard Juan de Salcedo, the name of the town was changed into Villa Fernandina. Before it became the city of Vigan sometimes in the year of 1758, which I already find amazingly interesting. It is well known by now that even prior to the country's subjugation to the Spanish Empire, Vigan was a busy seaport city as it is geographically located in close proximity to China. The city was well utilized as a trading hub between the indigenous Filipino local traders and their counterparts, the Chinese merchants, which frequented the region because of its favorable location at the mouth of the Mestizo River. And so no wonder that this city then became even the primary seaport city of the northern region in supplying goods during the Manila galleon trade period. But then in the month of May in the year of 1572, things suddenly changed here. It was when an exploration expedition of 45 Spaniards led by the conquistador Juan de Salcedo discovered the settlement of Cabigbigan while traversing on their way up north into the Ilocos. On their way they discovered many new settlements which were unknown to them, and so they decided to conquer them and transfer them into Spanish settlements, including the city of Vigan, which he then renamed to Villa Fernandina. Juan de Salcedo then stationed 30 of his men here in Vigan, and he continued to sail with the remaining 15 men in 2 open boats, sailing first northbound and then around the northern Luzon coast and continuing down south the eastern shore, returning 3 months later to Manila with a bounty of 50 pounds of gold. Now as a reward for his services to then King Philip II of Spain, Juan de Salcedo was granted not only with many generous estates, but also with the old province of Ilocos, which then was composed of the Ilocos Norte, Ilocos Sur, Abra, La Union and some parts of the Mountain Province, as his personal encomienda, which was a Spanish labor system that involved the forced labor of indigenous peoples in the Americas and here in the Philippines during the 16th century. Furthermore, he was also accorded with the title of Justicia Mayor de esta Provincia de Ilocos, as well as of the city of Vigan. This was a position where he could perform law enforcement and judicial functions within the city and the entire region, similar to the position of a sheriff or a chief executive officer of the crown in some jurisdictions. Now this guy called Juan de Salcedo was born in 1549 in the Spanish territory of Mexico, in the colony of the Viceroyalty of New Spain, and he was the son of Pedro de Salcedo and Teresa Lopez de Legazpi, which was a noble family during that time, who financed and led an expedition to conquer the Philippine Islands in the mid-16th century. And so, in the year of 1567, Juan de Salcedo, at the tender age of 18, became the youngest soldier in the Spanish infantry, and led an army of about 300 Spanish and Mexican soldiers, including around 600 of Visayan allies, to explore and conquer most parts of the Luzon Peninsula. During the year of 1572, he fell in love and wanted to marry Princess Candarapa. She was a native princess of Tonda, which is now part of Manila. However, their love was completely against their forebears' wishes. And since Lacangela, who was the ruler of the pre-colonial Tonda, wanted his niece, Dayang Candarapa, to be married to the Raja of Macabebe, so because of this love alliance was already doomed. And on the Spanish side, his grandparents, Conquistador Miguel Lopez de Legazpi, who was also known as El Adelantado, and El Viejo, or simply called the Elder, wanted his Mexican-born grandson to marry a pure Spanish woman of white European blood. And moreover, there was nothing more horrifying than his young nephew sabotaging the peace process with a romance with Candarapa, who was already betrothed to marry the Prince of Macabebe. The lovers were separated and Juan de Salcedo was brought north to the pacification campaign in the Ilocos, and many months passed and the lovelorn Princess Candarapa pined for Juan, until the news reached her, that in the meantime he married an Ilocos princess, which of course was a fabricated lie to keep them separated. However, this sad news struck Princess Candarapa's heart with sorrow and grief so badly that she died as a heartbroken princess. Anyway, to make a very long story short, he kept true to the vow to his first love, Princess Candarapa, and was also steadfast in his statement to his grandfather Miguel Lopez de Legazpi, and never married, but then settled in Vigan and renamed the town to Villa Fernandina after the name of his king's son. 1 year later in 1573, Juan de Salcedo proclaimed Vigan as the center of the Hispanic rule in the northern parts of Luzon, and Cebu as the ruling center in the Visayas, and Manilad, which is Manila of today, as the seat of the central government. And so the Spanish rule of the Philippine archipelago was successfully completed for now. In January 1574, Juan de Salcedo returned to the capital of his encomienda, which was of course the city of Vigan, and bringing with him some Augustinian missionaries to pioneer the evangelization of Ilocos, and for establishing a Spanish city for the purpose of controlling the neighboring countries. And so the city of Vigan became one of the most flourishing Spanish settlement located near to Manila. And that also helped Vigan to successfully develop into the center of Spanish influence and politico-economic power here in the entire north of Luzon. And due to the increased trading, more and more Chinese started to settle down here in Vigan and put their talent and knowledge into business. And by spreading their skills and mastery of the art of manufacturing, the Chinese traders became a rich and powerful entity here in the society, and spread their wings by opening more and more business points here in the heart of Vigan. And as they started to employ the locals and intermarry with the natives and mestizos of Vigan, their success in steadily rising into the class of the elites was guaranteed. They also helped to trigger a business boom in the community, due to their engagement in the domestic and foreign trade of exporting indigo, lime, maguey, basi, jars, tobacco, a woven cloth that was called able, and other local products that was shipped to Europe via Mexico, and of course also to China, Borneo, Malaysia and other parts of the world. As a consequence of this business boom, there was a marked change in the lifestyle of the inhabitants here in Vigan City, as their wealth and lifestyle was much better than in many other parts of Luzon. Some clear historical records describe in detail the wealth of the Chinese natives that came from Fujian, and the distinctive clothing of Spanish priests, as well as the good lifestyles of the locals, and the different architectural structures that were already existing here and superior to other towns and cities. Essentially, the city of Vigan and the Philippines served as a global plaza welcoming migrants from China, and from the island of Formosa, which was then under the Portuguese rule and is now known as Taiwan, as well as the Spanish conquistadors, the Koreans, the Indonesians, and the Malaysians. All of them have been welcomed to do trade here, and be part of the Vigan success story. And because of all of these happenings, the city of Vigan and the whole area somehow immensely benefited from the Spanish alliance. And it became even better once the Spaniards opened the Manila Galleon trade route, which was also known under the name of, now to China, or now to Acapulco, trade route, which was established in the late 16th century in bringing porcelain, silk, ivory, spices, and myriad other exotic goods imported from China into the Philippines, and then again exported to Mexico, and all in exchange for the New World silver, which at that time was the world's main trading currency. They estimated that as much as 1/3 of the silver that was mined in the New Spain territories and in Peru, somehow then arrived here in the Far East. In return of the silver, much of the precious Asian merchandise was then again shipped across the Pacific, via the Spanish colonized Philippines to Acapulco on Mexico's west coast, and from there it crossed Mexico overland for the shipment to the final port in Spain, and then to the other parts of Europe. It is also known that much of the porcelain and the carved ivory remained in the Americas and influenced the Mexican ceramics artists working there. As for the Chinese silk designs, some of the patterned garments of Guatemalan sculptures may have been inspired from the pattern developed in China and here in the Philippines. And there is also some proof that a subtle influence of the Asian ivory carvings could be seen on the reoccurring faces that was spread over certain parts of the Americas. Later in the year of 1755, Bishop Juan de la Fuente Yepes made a request to then King Fernando VI of Spain, to move the diocese of Nueva Segovia to Villa Fernandina, due to the deteriorating status of the town of Lalo in the Cagayan province. And 3 years later, with the royal decree signed by King Fernando VI of Spain, Villa Fernandina became Ciudad Fernandina de Vigan, and the Holy See of Nueva Segovia was then swiftly transferred from Lalo in Cagayan to the city of Vigan. The new church bell ensconced within the belfry of Vigan has the imprinted words of the decree, and it is said wherever the clang of the bell can be heard, that point will be marked as the territory of Ciudad Fernandina de Vigan. And so the name and the territory of the city of Vigan was born. Locating the heart of the historic city of Vigan is very easy. It is the Plaza Salcedo and the Plaza Burgos. I noticed that the Vigan architecture originates from the mid-18th to the late 19th century and is integrating a very unique trait derived from the Spanish, the Mexican and the Chinese culture, and mixed together with its traditional aspects of the Philippine culture and creating a result that is uniquely Vigan, if I might say so, and which brings me back to the feeling of being time-wrapped somewhere in Spain during the medieval time, which is a great experience not to be missed. And as you can see, Vigan is coming alive in the evening, so without further ado, let the show begin.
If they want this smoke, then yeah, it's no jokes, boy, it's up. In the end zone, that's a TD, we finessing job. Filling up the stat sheets and they knowing that's a plus. Back to back, highlight plays, all my moves is tough.
Born just to break the rules. Top the water for the money and fill up my pool. Got my morals on my dignity, we keep it cool. Just to work for the system, use you like a tool. How efficient do we use ourselves? That's at the story.
And now, with enjoying this grand dancing water fountain light show, I will end my epic adventure of exploring the ancient Spanish heritage city of Vigan. I hope that you also liked it to go back in time and revisit the amazing past. Anyway, thanks for watching. And in my next episode, I will continue my journey to Pagod Pud, which is located in the very northern parts of Luzon, in the Ilocos Norte region. So don't miss it, and good night, and I'm looking forward to seeing you back soon.